It is Sunday. Welcome to the post-birthday fiesta. Yes, indeed. It is your host, Bad Brad, and we're going to have some music talk, and we're to talk about rock and roll and bands and guitars and all that cool stuff, man. It was a fun day yesterday, my birthday, and thanks to everybody that sent money for the Red Bull. I've got the Red Bull going here today. We're ready to chat. Let's get some thumbs up. We got 2 people in here. We are the few, the proud. Yes, indeed. All right. So we're going to have fun today. It's going to be a super cool chat. If you got any friends, tell them to join us here, right here on YouTube Live. All right. So yesterday we went to a couple guitar shops. I talked about that. And we had a extremely decadent cake and a couple pretty decadent meals. And I tell you what, I didn't drink, yesterday. I'm not really drinking anymore, but Nelson, what's up, brother? But man, that food, I think I was in a food coma today. I think I was seriously hungover from the food. But I am glad to be back. The wife and the kid are out with some girlfriends and doing that girl thing. So that gives us some time to have some fun here and to talk freely and talk about rock and roll and music. Now, if anybody has any topics, what's up? San Diego in the house. Yes, indeed. What's up, buddy? We're glad to have you here. If anybody has any questions or topics that they want to talk about, of course you can super chat. Of course you can tip. Lowdown is in the house. He had a huge night last night on top of 20 shipping container. Thank you, Lowdown. We always like having you here. I like having everybody that comes to this channel, man. We've got the coolest musicians and people in the chat. You're gonna meet some cool people in the chat. You're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk about music, and we're gonna have a good time today. But yeah, yesterday was a blast. I didn't buy a guitar on my birthday, man. I resisted the temptation, and then having to leave Guitar Center in an abrupt, toddler meltdown. Fred Moore here, listening from Texas. Salute. Bo, I'm looking at the PRS DGT 15 watt amp and cab. I am looking at that as well. That is a very intriguing amp to me. And man, it looks really cool. Man, I thought about picking up one of those myself. I haven't played one in person. But man, of course, the people that seem to demo those, and whether it's the guy with the beard and the red hair on PRS's website, of course, he makes everything sound good. And of course, David Grissom is an incredible player with great tone in his hands. And that is a very cool looking rig. I've thought about that. When I knew I was coming down here to Florida, and I started noticing the few players that I see playing on stage, it seems to be Florida, because a lot of the gigs are outside and people are using bigger amps here. And I thought, man, I got rid of all my cabs and my high powered amps. And, because Nashville became kind of unfriendly to that type of rig. So then when I thought of coming down here, maybe I'd be in a situation where I need some more firepower. And that is an attractive looking amp, and at a very affordable price for what you get. So yeah, I'm looking at that amp as well, but I don't have any other info on it other than from what I hear, it sounds good. I'm trying to break into the sub guitarist world. Subbing versus going with a singular band. Where are you located, Central? That would be my first question. But yes, being a sub is a good thing. There were several bands in Nashville that I wasn't their first call. They had their friends that were first call. and then I would be the guy. I've subbed for, different players in different situations. And being a sub is nice, but of course you don't get your calendar filled up as much just being a sub. You need to have some gigs where you are a first call player. You're in Connecticut, okay? Well, the real thing about being a sub is being ready to go at the drop of a hat, because that's the thing about being a sub is all of a sudden things happen, and so will say, man, I'm sick as a dog. Wake up, or an hour before the gig, dude, I can't do this gig. You got to sub for me. So you got to be ready to go. You got to know the tunes, and that's all I can say. If you're too good subbing for someone, they won't give you the call to sub either. So then there's that. So you got to be good enough to sub, but they don't want somebody that's going to take their gig. But if you let them know right out the gate. San Diego, thank you so much, sir. Much appreciated. I love it. I like it. As Tim McGraw said, I'd like some more of it, but I'm happy just hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much. We're much appreciated to keep the flow going. Hey, Red Bulls ain't cheap, baby. Red Bulls ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? But we're having fun. We're talking about, being a sub guitar player, being, as opposed to being the main guitar player on a gig. I don't mind subbing for people, man. So, there's some gigs where I don't want the gig full time. What up, Bad Brad? Tim Hardiman in the house. I gotta say, thoughts on Corey Feldman shredding. Okay, so I was gonna talk about this. I should probably do a whole other video about that. And Joe, I'll try to get to your question here in a little bit. But Corey Feldman has been getting on stage with a purple EVH with the hockey stick headstock and the quilt top. And he's people are questioning whether this guy is trolling, like Andy Kaufman. If anybody remembers Andy Kaufman and how he broke into wrestling by threatening and wrestling women on stage, and then that ticked off the real wrestlers and all that, right? So, and he was trolling people. I don't think people realized back in the day that he wasn't serious. And we bought into it, But Corey Feldman, I mean, let's be real. I think the guy is legit delusional. I really think that Hollywood and all the stuff that he's been through has warped his brain so that he cannot face reality. You're looking at somebody that was a child star. Corey Feldman was a child star, right? I remember being a little kid, being a tyke myself, and seeing that Corey Feldman's little face staring back at me on the TV. And hey, practice away, bro. But City Drums, I salute you, brother. But here's the thing, man. I think his brain is just warped. I think he is delusional. I think he believes he is great. He gets out there and does those Michael Jackson moves. He's wearing the same stage clothes every night, the same Michael Jackson black outfit, and then that mirror outfit. But you know what? It's great entertainment. It is great entertainment, either way you slice it. And that is why, he's on a huge tour right now. He was damn good in Stand By Me. Yes, he was. He's a victim and a predator at the same time. Well, I can't, I don't know, man. I don't know enough about what's going on behind the scenes. All I can really comment on is his guitar playing. And, he is, in a way, he's trolling us with his guitar playing. I see it, and it's almost like he's mimicking what he thinks we do as guitar players. So, I can't comment on any other stuff with him. I think it's an entertaining show. I actually thought that, going to see that Limp Bizkit show, and granted, the whole new metal thing, I'm kind of before that generation, but, I can appreciate their tunes. And yeah, LA is full of runaway nuts. Hey, I was one of those runaway nuts in LA. So yeah, I look, man. You know what? There's a line in Hotel California that says you can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. And you know, had several friends that moved out there as well, and I've heard them say the same thing. There's something about it. I can't really describe. You know, we are same age. Ruthless Reed. All right. You know, LA just kind of warps your perspective of life and morals and all of those things. So, you know, I'm only really comfortable hanging out with musicians like this, just like we're doing here. This is our green room right now. Like we're getting ready to go do a gig. This is what I would be doing when I was young. Everybody wanted to go there. Hey, I was one of those guys, and I went out to LA, and I was seeking fame and fortune, and I wanted to be the next guitar hero, you know, and all of those things. But man, life distracts you. 1978, San Diego, right indeed. That's a good year. Good year. The year Van Halen 1 came out. Went to LA, new sub. Guitar professionals, we are glad to have you here as a sub. Thank you so much. Everybody hit that like button. We got 30 people in the room. We're having a good time. Joe Wentz says he loves this channel. Man, I love you guys. I love the people that we get on this channel. And like I said, this is like a green room hang. I would be babbling and drinking Red Bull just like I do here on YouTube. And like I was saying before, you know, the music business, Chicago in the house. All right. Happy belated birthday. Thank you, Tony. Got a few more years on you. It's yours today. Happy birthday, sir. We salute you. We salute you. For those about to rock, we salute you. But yeah, LA just totally warps your brain. And that's why I'm more comfortable hanging out with musicians. And, you know, we've all been through it, man, right? In this business, we've seen it, we've done it, we've been it. And now if we're still here listening right now, did you quit drinking alcohol? I recently watched your beer salesman vid. It really hasn't been recently. It's really probably, you know, I'm 58 and I've got a 3-year-old daughter, soon to be 4. And so it just doesn't make sense. She gets up too early. I got too much going on with this YouTube thing I'm doing now. I mean, I get up at 5 a.m. every day and shoot content. So, oh shit, I'm turning 57. All right, well, you're right behind me, bro. You're right behind me. We're still kicking, right? We're still having a good time, having some Red Bull. So you know, I will never say that I would never have a drink because, you know, the situation might come, but I would not drink to get drunk anymore. And that's the difference. That's what I used to do. You know, 12-pack after the gig. You know, that was just a Saturday night into Sunday morning, right? So, but we don't have to do that anymore. I got too much work to do, man. I got too many things to do in the back 9 of life. There's no more time for laying around. Got smoke those bowls. All right, big bowls. All right, well, you know, he's got big bowls and she's got big bowls, right? Right, mate? All right, we're having a good time. We got 33 people in here. We got 12 likes. Come on, we can do better than 12 likes. We are having a good time. We got San Diego, Chicago in the house. I've been to London too, guitar professionals. Now that's a place I have not been. And I got people that watch this channel from London and Australia and New Zealand and all these other places. And a lot of them I haven't been to. I came this close to getting to go to Australia. I just turned 54, time flies. The older we get, you're absolutely right. And now we ain't got no time to waste, baby. We got no time to waste here tonight. Little cross between Louis Armstrong and David Lee Roth, right? We got no time to waste, baby. Yeah. So we're having a little Red Bull. We're feeling good, looking good, and having a good time here. Bend, Oregon here. Love your channel. Thank you so much. Bud, we are glad to have you here. I'm glad to have everyone here. We got 36 people in here. Let's smash that like button. I met this cat in Jamaica. Let's see what Tony's saying. And he was from Lyme Regis, England. And his golf partner was Ian, Smoke on the Water. Live around 25 miles outside of London. Great city, but parking is hell. I would imagine it is, Tony. So, Tony, you live in London. Wow. That's amazing, man. I wish I could go there, man. That's awesome. Surrey. Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible, man. I just can't believe that this YouTube thing and meeting people all over the world, because like I said, when you're touring with, say, a country artist or that kind of music, you don't get to play England or almost, like I said, I almost got to go to Australia and Japan. But that got nixed. We don't think we can do that right now. Okay. So, didn't get to do it. So Canada, all over the US. I stopped in Japan on the way to the Philippines. So I was in the Japanese airport and they had some interesting things in the shops. The bottles in Japan are out of control. Let me tell you something, man, I've always wanted to spend a lot of time in Japan. I was lucky I got to go to the Philippines twice and play over there and party and just have a great time. That was a lot of fun. Bong Brahmand. I'm not sure what that is, Fu Man, but I'll salute you just the same. Did you marry a Filipino? No, a Filipina, you should be saying. No, I did not. No, I didn't. I didn't even really have a Filipina girlfriend, but I had fun over there hanging out with girls and stuff like that. It was fun. The C2C thing has helped country music in the UK a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure I know what that. The bong remains the same. Hi, Quincy. What's happening, brother? Quincy's on his way. He is in Nashville, and he is going to conquer the music business and tell us all the tale one day. One day I'll be 90 watching Quincy James videos. He'll be telling his stories, and I'll be going, oh man, dude. I'll be going, dude, sorry, bro. Sorry it happened. So how's everybody doing? We're having a little Red Bull. We got 44 people in here. We're knocking them out. We're having a good time. We're partying right here on YouTube, talking about guitars, talking about the music business, having a little Red Bull. Yeah, still not sponsored. Probably, did you pre-order Alex Van Halen's book that comes out in October? Did you ever meet anyone in the BH camp? Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so in my time in LA, I can honestly say that I only ever saw David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth, the first time I saw him, I was out in Vegas, and I was walking down the strip, and this is the days when this was I'm guessing like 91, somewhere around there, right? And so I was walking down the strip, and I see David Lee Roth, and he's got his hair pulled back. He had like a ponytail, and he was riding his bike, and he had his girlfriend, had a girlfriend with him or whatever, and they were kind of riding their bike down the strip. And let's see, the funny time that I did see him, the funniest time was I was at the Rainbow, which everybody knows, Rainbow Bar and Grill on Sunset, right? And he used to see him sometimes in an alley with a little straw. Well, I don't doubt that, right? But so we were at the Rainbow one night, and it was me and my friend Johnny D and Mike. And we were at the Rainbow, and we were inside where all the little booths are. And it was really packed that night. And we go in, and we just found, like, you would go in and try to find a table that girls would say, hey, you guys want to sit with us or whatever. But you know, we didn't get that. So we found a little corner where we could be. And we were kind of, you know, in this corner. And then the booth that we were facing, it was like David Lee Roth standing there in front of his booth with, I think it was Big Ed, his security guard at the time. And we're standing there, and we're, you know, look, the thing about it, you see rock stars in the rainbow, and we were all, you know, wannabe rock stars, you know, playing in bands and stuff like that. So you don't go up and bother that guy, or you don't gurm him, and you don't, hey, Dave, hey, man, you know, you don't do that. That's why a guy like that, Ed Anderson, that's right. Yeah, Big Ed. So we're standing there, and we're having our beer, and it was literally like we had just ordered two drunk chicks. Because all of a sudden, two girls come up, and I was in the middle, and the girls grabbed my friend Mike and my friend Johnny D, and they're standing next to me, and I'm in the middle, and they just start making out. It was like two girls just came up, and hey, and next thing you know, they're making out. And I look over at David Lee Roth, because he's probably thinking, well, why didn't this happen to me? And he looks at me like, and I'm like, dude, you know, and it was just funny. It was just one of those funny moments. Why don't you wear one of your own t-shirts? Dana, because I haven't ordered one yet. I need to order one, and then I'll rock it on the show. Found a sax case in my mom's aunt's son's room in London, UK. Let's see what. And told me not to touch it. Later found he was the first sax player for the Dave Clark Five. That's incredible. American Military Bay always had good groups coming through. I was a child when my family saw Jerry Lee Lewis at a club. I actually remember some snippets. Now, that's incredible. Getting to see Jerry Lee Lewis. I never got to see The Killer. I wish I had. I loved that 50s rock, man. Huge fan of 50s rock. And I did get to see Chuck Berry. Okay, and I would say Chuck Berry was the godfather or the father of rock guitar. He really kind of invented it, especially lead guitar, you know, back in the day. Chuck Berry was the man. And so in the 70s, you know, in my hometown, there was a Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. And I saw that Chuck Berry was playing at the theater, and you know, you get admission to the park, and you pay, you know, $10 or whatever it was, and you get to see Chuck Berry. So I'm like, I told my dad, I want to go see Chuck Berry. I want to go see Chuck Berry. So we go to see Chuck Berry, and we go, and first thing, you know, Chuck Berry, he always played with a pickup band, right? He always, Chuck Berry would say, Joe Wentz, thank you so much. Have you ever considered musicians performing live on YouTube because of the demands of my job? Let me see that again. Can I get that to come back? That's my only way of performing live. I sank a lot of money in my setup, but it's worth it. The sound is big. Okay, that man, you know, there are ways to do that, to stream and play music. Now let's salute and everybody follow Joe, if you can, Chuck Berry, the first dude who rocked and rolled. So the funny story about this is Chuck Berry, you know, he performs with a pickup band, and he gets his money in a briefcase in cash before he will go on stage, and he makes them provide a guitar amplifier. You know, he wants a Showman reverb, and I think it was like 2 of them or something like that on his rider. And he performs with whoever they throw up there for him. Well, I lived in Virginia at the time, so we go to this thing, and I didn't really know any of this back in the day. I didn't, you know, I was just going to see Chuck Berry. I don't know who's in his band, but you know, all of a sudden these guys come on stage, and they're all wearing like Hawaiian shirts, like beach-like stuff, and like khaki pants, and they come out, and I don't know if they vamped on something or what, but, you know, I'm like, who are these clowns? Like, who made the call? Hey guys, we're going to back Chuck Berry. Let's all wear our Hawaiian shirts and our khakis. And so, you know, but these guys come out, and then all of a sudden Chuck comes out, and he's got his 70s like almost psychedelic kind of like shirt and maybe like red pants. You know, he's full in 70s mode Chuck Berry. And he comes out and starts doing his thing, but you could tell he was not digging these guys, this band, right? And at some point during the show, he went basically like to the bass player and the piano player and it kind of like showed him what to do, you know, kind of like, and you know, I think about that moment now and think about, you know, dude, you're gonna go back, one of the legends of all time, and you're gonna dress like a tool, and you know, it didn't leave a good taste in my mouth, but you know, Chuck was cool, and I was glad that I got to see him. So that was the story behind that. I'm missing a few things in chat. Pedro, what's up? French Alps, Chuck Berry did the same thing. I saw him in Lisbon, 100K in cash, 2 hookers and a bottle of whiskey. Well, wait a minute now. See, I got my numbers wrong. I have heard stories like that. Keith Richards was the tougher side of Chuck. Yeah, Keith Richards was the tougher side of Chuck, but Chuck still clocked him in the jaw one time. So I don't know. I think Chuck Berry might have been tougher. He's just a little bit older in the musical evolution. I am in Lamar near Florence. All right. Excellent. We are glad to have you here. Joe Wentz, thank you so much for that tip. I don't know how to get that thing back up. I'm still learning this YouTube. But yeah, Joe, you're right. I could sink some money into some software, and I could go live on here playing and stuff like that. But man, the crazy thing about my channel is people just like to hear the stories. Hi, Greenville, Joe. Thank you so much for that tip. That is amazing. That helps so much. You're keeping this channel going. We're keeping the vibes going. And we're keeping the Red Bull on ice, baby. We're keeping that Red Bull on ice. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Here tonight. Look at all the people here tonight. We got 41 people. Let's smash that like button. Let's have some fun. All right. Am I missing some chats? No, I think I'm caught up. All right. So how's everybody doing? We're having fun. Oh, I just had to recharge. Joe, I'm much appreciated. You know, it's hard work getting up at 5 in the morning, shooting videos. I shoot my whispering videos at 5 a.m. People ask me, you know, why are you whispering? And I'm like, dude, it's 5 a.m. I'm lucky to be alive, right? It ain't a party till, let's see, what was that? It ain't a party till your band gets thrown out of Toby Keith's and then an almost riot ensues. Pedro, great to catch you live. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Chuck Berry was the OG R. Kelly. Yeah, before his time. Yeah, Chuck had some skeletons in his closet. Dwayne Jones, what's happening? Outside the mighty ATL and moving some livestock. Now, let me tell you something. That's some real cowboy stuff right there. Michael, hope to hear the Scat Springs story sometime. Brad ASMR, incoming. ASMR, bro. Here we are, bro. Yeah, man, you know, so I'll tell, so Michael Fair just popped in, and Michael Fair is the guy that gave me my first gig in Nashville, and we played together on my last gig in Nashville. So everybody go check out his tunes and his channel. He's got amazing stuff. But we played with a guy. Now, Michael, I'm going to show you something here. We're going to reach back into the archives. I found this, you know, kind of straightening up my room today. I found this right here, my Scat Springs and the Big Soul Band Family Fun Zone stage, access only. All right. So one of the guys, one of our favorite guys, everybody that ever played with this guy was a guy named Scat Springs. And he called him the big round mound of sound, right? But Scat was the most awesome soul singer and personality. and just a hilarious guy to be around. And he would do things, on gigs that would make the wedding planners and the people in the venue. He would do things that would tick them off so bad. And then, but by the end of the night, they would just absolutely love him. And he was the best at getting those high dollar, corporate and wedding type gigs, because he just had the personality that just, he was always in a good mood, and he'd go up to any woman in the room. Oh, you're so lovely. You're so lovely. Oh, you're just so beautiful. Oh, it's just lovely. He was kind of like, the guy in the Coming to America movie. What's the guy who sings, I believe the children are our future? Except Scat could really sing, right? Scat could really sing, and he was a great front man and just hilarious. But he would always be late for his gigs. And I would be on stage. We would play Bourbon Street Blues and Boogie Bar, right? And he would be late. He would literally call me while I'm on stage 5 minutes before downbeat and say, yeah, he was like sexual chocolate. Yes, he would call me, and he's supposed to be there, and he's supposed to be on stage now. Like, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late, right? He would call and go, I'm running late. How's it looking there? I'm like, dude, it's packed. Get here now. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. What are you gonna start with? I'm like, dude, I can't even think about what I'm gonna start with because my singer's not here. Like, yeah, go ahead, start without me. Go ahead. Well, obviously we're gonna start without me because the club owner is circling like a shark in the room, staring at us. Where's Scat? Where's Scat? And so, of course, we started without him every single time. And like, we would play these high dollar weddings, right? And he would come in late, and he would, Scat would come in late, right? He'd come up to the band and go, oh, you sound lovely. Oh, you sound so wonderful. Oh, it just sounds wonderful. And he would have a plate of food. He would come in late, get a plate of food, be eating a biscuit. Oh, that's so good. Oh, you guys sound amazing. You guys sound incredible. And so, that was Scat, and you knew, but see, if you knew that going into it, that's what you were going to have to deal with, then, you just go, well, it's a Scat gig. I know he's going to be late. I know we're going to play the first 2 or 3 songs without him. And then he's going to stroll in and knock the audience dead, and everything will be fine. But my thing that I just didn't like was like, dude, I already know you're going to be late. Like, I don't need to be on the phone with you right now. I am trying to figure out what we're going to start with and make sure my rig works and make sure everybody's in their place and, doing that. He was late, just like the Blues Brother. You know what's crazy? Apparently Miles Davis was that same way. Very nonchalant at every show. Man, it works for some people. It works for some people. Me, I joked, I would say I am Nashville's most dangerous and punctual guitarist because I would always be on time. I would always be early because, you get to a gig and you never know what, you get there, you might have tested your rig before you got to the gig, the night before, and then you get to the gig and flip on the amp, amp's dead. And so you need that extra time to figure out what the heck am I going to do now? But I would always have a backup to my backup. I would always have, I was one guy I used to work with a lot. He said, dude, you're the most responsible mess I've ever known. Because I used to be off the chain crazy. Definitely a different breed. Thank you, Sebastian. Some people do it on purpose. It's a stick. Yeah, I think Scat liked the fact that he could just stroll in and then just knock them dead. And he was never one. He would work hard. Once he was there, he would work hard. And the crazy thing is, the last night that I saw Scat, before he had a stroke, right? He had a stroke, but he recovered from that stroke, and we were still playing gigs. But I don't know if he was doing what he needed to do to get fully better. And but last night I saw him. I was playing with Michael at Sambuca, and Scat was supposed to come in and sing a song. Wasn't his gig, but he was going to come sit in. And he showed up after we were already done, and I'm like, dude, you missed it. And he says, oh, I know. And I gave him a hug. It was something weird, but he came in, and I gave him a hug. And dude, he went to Bourbon Street that night to go, dance and hang out. And he had a stroke right in the club. And man, he never recovered from that one. He never recovered from that. And it was a huge loss in Nashville because, man, he kept us all working. And I loved working for him because he didn't have any rules. There were no rules. The corporate and wedding thing now, man, there's a lot of rules. But back in the Scat days, man, we ate whatever we wanted. We drank whatever we wanted. We showed up like we owned the place. Scat would show up late. Now, here's another hilarious thing. He would never, if he had to learn a song or whatever, he was never good at that. So sometimes he would call me the day of the gig. Do you know this song? And I was like, well, I mean, I've heard it. Can you sing it? And I'm like, I guess I could sing it, but I mean, he's like, I'll give you an extra $30 if you sing this song. I said, okay. So I would basically be covering for him because he had promised them that he would sing the song. And so all of a sudden I'm singing some random song that I have no place singing. But Scat would, if he had to sing it, he'd be holding the paper inches from his face, and his hand would be shaking, and he'd be singing the melody wrong and all that. And his same thing went for, it's really important to get names right when you do a wedding gig and when you introduce the wedding party. But Scat would never do his homework, and for some reason, we're on this gig, and he goes to introduce the bride and groom. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Crab. And everyone's looking around and go, Mr. and Mrs. Crab, right? It's Crab, ain't it? And they're like, no, that's not the name. I thought it was Crab. You mean it's not Crab? I thought the paper said Crab. Is it Mr. and Mrs. Crab? And oh my God, the wedding planner was furious. I don't even remember what the real name was, but that will always go down as Mr. and Mrs. Crab. Whatever that wedding was, he just kept repeating it over and over again. He got it wrong. What do they tell you? If you play a bad note, just repeat it. So yeah, he would say the wrong name over and over again. And man, the wedding planner was so furious at him. But by the end of the night, he had won their hearts by singing and doing his shtick, But that is the story of Scat Springs and me and Michael Fair's good friend that we worked with for a year. Hello, Cleveland. Hello. It's Nigel. It's Nigel. It's not your job to be as confused as Nigel. Spinal Tap, bro. How many people out there like Spinal Tap? If you're a musician, you've had to have watched that a million times. Beautiful day today. Any day is beautiful. We're having some Red Bull. We're enjoying some chat. We've got right now 35 people in here. We need some thumbs up. Oh, we got 47 people in here. Good Lord Almighty. We're rocking and rolling in here. We're having a good time. We've got Michael Fair in here. We had Tim from Black 22. I'm originally from the west side of Cleveland, West Tech. All right. Rock and roll. That Cleveland is a rock and roll town. It goes to 11. It goes to 11. Let me tell you something, man. If you're in this business, you are going to have Spinal Tap moments, man. I have had many Spinal Tap moments on the road. I've gotten lost backstage, and you always, when you're lost backstage, you go, hello, Cleveland, hello. We just, that stuff is real as it comes. And there were many classic rockers that did not find that movie at all amusing. New sub here, MZ, thank you. Keep up the good work, man. I will. I am on this every day, like you know what. You know what I'm saying? So we're having fun here. That Spinal Tap, dude. That's I need to watch that again. But there are there's so many hilarious moments in there, and ones that like the puppet show, and then the band. I've been on gigs where you get there and it's like puppet show, and then the artist you're playing with, and you're just like, it is what it is. And look, when you're out there and your job is to get up on stage and pose and play guitar and act like a fool. We all become Nigel at that point, right? It's not your job to be as confused as Nigel. Too much bloody perspective. Well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. You can't hit that note. What do you think of the very new modern rock 2015 till now? Can you name a band that I need to comment on? Because 2015, that's oldies now, right? That's almost 10 years. Man, I don't hear too much. Look, you see that? There's a Struts poster back there. That guy, that front man, is one of the best in the business these days. One of the best front men I've seen. But the band is just okay. If that band had a serious drummer and a serious guitar player, watch out. But the band is just okay, and the singer is incredible. And they're mates. I guess they're all buddies, and all that. But Stonehenge Monument, danger being trod upon by a dwarf. It's all Instagram rock now. Nerds in their rooms. Yeah, bloody good, Mike. Bloody good. I don't. What about like Polyphia and all that? Brad, the Gulf Coast has tons of wedding work. Destination weddings, just hard to get in. Nashville became a huge destination wedding and bachelorette scene. No, we're not bloody playing Stonehenge. What do you think of Living Color? Vivid was one of the first pieces of music I'd ever owned. I just saw Living Color for second time live. I saw them opening for Extreme. And man, I really enjoyed their set. And the singer still was singing. He was hitting notes, and I ain't heard a man hit in my life. He was hitting notes, and Vernon sounding great. The drummer's killing, and the bass player's killing. And to be honest, Extreme was great. Nuno was great, but honestly, Living Color was, as a whole, was a better band than Extreme was. Will it be in Dublin? Will it be in Dublin? You got to admit, I got the Nigel hair, right? People accuse me of having a wig, and we know that's not the fact. But it's been many times where I'll go to get my hair cut, and I used to be able to. I could go to the hairdresser and show them a picture of Jeff Beck or Ron Wood, and they would go, "Oh yeah, oh Jeff Beck, yeah, oh okay, I can do that." And now it's at the point where my last hairdresser in Nashville is a rocker chick, but she was into, it was an Australian band, kind of hippy dippy band. I can't think of something leopard or something animal, some kind of animal name, right? And, but if I wanted a Jeff Beck haircut, I would have to show her who is Jeff Beck? I have to show her a picture of that. I need to find somebody, a rocker chick in this town that I'm in now, outside of Tampa. I've got to find somebody that can cut my hair, because I eventually will have to do something with this, but for now, I figure let's just let it grow, let the brain cells come out of the head, and we'll just see what happens. I'll keep dialing in my Nigel. I got my Nigel. It's not my job to be as confused. Where are you? Parish. Now I'm like north and a little west of Tampa. So I don't divulge my exact coordinates. It's top secret. Yeah, keep my wig, bro. Keep my wig. Look, man, I had some guy the other day, and he commented, and he was like, the hair, and he put a laughing like emoji. And I look at his picture, and he's bald as a jaybird, and I'm thinking, well, dude, I don't go on bald people's pages and rag on their lack of hair. I mean, I don't care. I don't care what you look like. This is more of a pain in the butt having these hair follicles than anything, because it costs money. St. Pete has a good songwriter scene, so I've heard. Well, we'll see. But I don't know, man. I guess, Pedro, I don't even see the point. It's just, why waste your day? Like, Ruby's Elixir has a good place to meet musicians. Monday is R&B night. Yes. So St. Petersburg has a club called Ruby's Elixir, and I have checked that place out. I haven't been there yet, but I noticed they've got a family funk night, and I tried to make connections with the musicians on there when I knew it was moving down here. I tried to kind of add them as friends, and none of them would accept my friendship. And then I saw they play 10 to 2 in the morning, and I thought, I don't know if I want to do a 10 to 2 anymore for $100 or $150. Advanced players in Florida. Don't forget Pat Metheny. With success comes the trolls. They have no life. We're getting into the whispering section of the video. Yes, indeed. We are having Red Bull. The wife and the daughter are out hanging with the girlfriends today. So this is the first time I've been able to they don't get it when I'm like, I'm going live tomorrow. What does that mean? I'm going live on YouTube because I got these friends. Thank you, Bradley Ray on bass. Thank you, brother. How's everybody doing? We're having a good time. We're having a little chat. Now, was able to shoot a couple little 3-minute Pat Metheny Ibanez guitar. Pat Metheny is incredible. But he's from here. I think, isn't he living on the East Coast? Isn't he a New York guy or a Boston guy or something like that? I'm just guessing. I don't know. Brad, ASMR in full effect, bro. I've had several people say, I'm not even, I know it's, the ASMR is like, these little scratchy sounds and stuff like that. Man, that's a whole different world for me. We call it whisper talking. But sometimes the delivery, when you're being serious and you're telling industry secrets, which sometimes get told on my channel, sometimes it is best to not speak those loudly, right? Tom P came out of Florida too, and I think Pat Travers is here in Florida, and I believe Jocko's son is here playing bass. So, and I believe he plays with Pat Travers now. So that, that's interesting. I need to find out when some of my friends are playing in the area. And, he probably lives with his Brazilian wife in Brazil. Right. Hey, it's good work if you can get it, right, Pedro? That's good work. Kudos to my friend Pat Metheny. And congratulations on your Brazilian wife. How's everybody doing? We've got 55 people in here. This is incredible. And I want to see more likes. I want to see more subscribes. We're having a good time. I'm having a little Red Bull. We're having a little excellent chat today. It's going stellar. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I'm done, and I'm in recovery of energy drinks. Okay. A lot of players are in Orlando, St. Pete, and Miami. Yeah, I think you're probably right. I've got a bass player that I played with a little bit in Nashville. He's in Orlando. We can only punch the like button once. Yes, that is correct. You are absolutely right, Pedro. Brad, you should grow that trucker hat beard look again. Yeah, the full beard. So when I was on the road, when I first got on the road with the last artist I was out with, I started the gig with kind of this kind of haircut, and as the gig progressed, I started becoming the character that they needed on that gig, and so the hair would just grew it, down, and I had a beard, and because I'm older, I would not paint it, but use the Just for Men. So I had this black beard, and it came down to here, and sometimes I'd put red in it, like Dimebag, because I get on this gig and I'm like, what should I be playing like? It wasn't a traditional country gig, and I started getting back into Pantera, and so I was listening to Pantera and thinking, man, I need to play my solos like Pantera, just go out and go crazy. And so I grew my hair, and I had the beard. YouTube needs to put on a festival of bands and single. I could put together bands on stage for 3 days. That is an excellent, excellent idea. Salt and pepper, embrace the salt and pepper. Yes, it's fully embraced now. You can see right under here, that's full on gray. I think once this last little bit of dyed mop grows out, it'll probably be all gray. Play us some Yngwie licks. Okay, let's see. Somebody said play some Yngwie licks. It's been a while since I played some Yngwie licks, right? Let's see, where it is. Right, or I can't play as fast as Yngwie, and I don't really sweep pick anymore. I don't really tap anymore. I don't do crazy, whammies. I don't really do the crazy whammy stuff so much anymore. I don't really like the sound of sweep picking. I'm just such a traditionalist that I'm more of a, is he 6'3"? Really? I've told my Yngwie story on this channel of him being at the Rainbow, and I swear when I saw him, he was kind of hunched over and drunk. And he didn't look 6'3" to me. Is it true a lot of musicians are short? I'll tell you who's incredibly short is Kip Winger. When I was out in LA, Yngwie is like practicing exercises, classical exercises. When I was out in LA, at one point in time, because I'd always have stubble and had the same kind of permed hair, I used to get girls saying I looked like Kip Winger, right? And I ran into him in Nashville one night, going to a club, and I saw him. I was like, dude, I used to get girls, telling me I looked like you, and I got a picture with him. But dude, I was like, he was like incredibly short. I didn't really realize, but man, I did explain to my wife the other day that people think that a guy like Kip Winger is just some hair metal musician, and I had to explain to her, said that guy writes orchestral pieces. He's been Grammy nominated or won a Grammy for his orchestral pieces. He is a multi-talented guy that is known for, She's Only 17, a hair metal song in the heyday of that, or the tail end of that genre. But man, that guy is an incredibly talented musician. I mean, incredibly smart, and he's not, the dumb rocker. Yeah, I saw part of that interview, Tony. Rick Beato did a lesson. He is an insane composer and arranger. It's really incredible that guy is, he just ignored all the haters, and Beavis and Butthead really kind of did a number on him. even Metallica throwing darts at the guy or whatever. But dude, I think in the long run, he kind of gets the last laugh because he's an incredibly talented guy, and man, I give him a lot of respect, man. I like that first Winger album, dude. Crank up. When this is done, everybody go crank up. She's only 17. And blast that and tell me that track doesn't rock. I mean, you got Rod Morgenstern on drums. Forget about it. Reb Beach is that riff. I mean, that was one of those riffs that nobody could figure out right. He was like the only guy that played it right for a long time. Talent prevails. Modes pass. Yes, indeed, Pedro. Yes, indeed. We got 57 people in here. Let's smash that like button. We're having a good time. It's Sunday live with Bad Brad. We're in the cave. We're in the man cave, the shred cave, the guitar cave. I don't really shred anymore. I like to play fusion type stuff. I like Dumble-esque type tones now, but I still do like to play a little rock guitar every now. Can't Get Enough is another good tune. Yeah, man. To me, that whole first Winger album, you could put that on and just let the thing play. I even like the version of Purple Haze they do. Great guitar playing. Ever meet Janie Lane? I saw Janie Lane many times at a club called FM Station out in the Valley. Now, FM Station would put on these shows called Policeman's Ball. And I think we might even have played one of the Policeman's Balls. And this club was FM Station. It was ran by the owner who called himself Filthy McNasty. He's kind of a legendary Hollywood figure. He used to own the Central on the Strip, and it was called McNasty's. I think even Elvis used to go there back in the day when he was hanging out in L.A. So he owned this place called FM Station. Well, then the Palomino, which is a legendary country club, which you can see in the Clint Eastwood movie, Any Which Way But Loose. The country music scenes where they're performing live, that was the bar. Now, the Palomino, country was kind of going through a phase where it was kind of dipping in popularity out west, and the hairband thing was still kind of going strong really into 1990, 91, 92. And so the Palomino at one time started bringing some of the Sunset Strip bands to play at their club. And my band that I was in at the time, Shock, was one of the first metal bands to play at the Palomino. And we played to a mostly empty club on a stage in a place that was really designed for that country, that dry kind of country sound. And man, we got up there with our big amps and we're playing on that big stage, and the room was like the carpet on the walls dry. And we're used to playing in places that were cavernous with lots of room ambience. And man, it wasn't our best show, let's put it that way. But LA Times, the Los Angeles Times came out and took a picture that ended up in the LA Times of us playing this club. Well, long story short, Policeman's Ball started out at FM Station, but the Palomino must have stolen Janie away or something. Because all of a sudden, Warrant and the Policeman's Ball moved to the Palomino, and I believe that was on a Wednesday. And so the Policeman's Ball would be at the Palomino, and of course, when Jenny Lane was there, that was packed. So he would pack out the Palomino, and they would have 3 or 4 bands playing, and Janie Lane would be there with Bobby Brown. Remember the model Bobby Brown that he married? Statuesque blonde, and man, it would be a whole scene. But meanwhile, FM said, well, I don't need a Jenny Lane. Filthy McNasty would say, I will have fireman's ball. You have policeman's ball, I have fireman's ball. So he would just do the same thing minus Janie Lane at his club. So both clubs would have a good turnout. But man, Janie Lane and I did hang out with Eric Turner from Warrant a little bit. So there's that. Good guys. Headed for a heartbreak. Good tune. Yes, indeed. We're having some fun. We've been on for an hour. 2 best live shows I witnessed. Small Club, Dirty Nelly, saw Frank Marino, a full leather suit, sweating like mad for over an hour. Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. Very good band. The phone is ringing. We'll watch the rest of this later. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for being here. Everybody hit that like button. Wow, we've got more likes than people in the room. That is friggin' awesome. I can remember a bad gig at one of the most popular clubs in Deep Ellum called the Curtain Club. All right, well, we've all had our share of bad gigs, right? I don't know if I'm going to have any more bad gigs. I'm not even trying to put stuff on my calendar. Maybe I'll just kick back and not try to book gigs and then see what happens. People are going to have to offer me more money. That's what's going to happen because I'm just going to later, Tony, glad to have you here. We're having a little Red Bull. We're in overtime, as I like to say in this business. Once we go over an hour, we're in overtime. So if you can, hit that super chat. If you got a question or something you want to talk about, if you keep it snapping and popping, we'll continue on into overtime, man. We're having a little overtime. Yes, indeed. It's better to burn out than fade away. Somewhere down the line, a bad gig is guaranteed. It is guaranteed. But you know, met Steve Lukather after he left Toto on a solo gig at Dirty Nelly's. The man can jam and hung out after the show. Yeah, I've got a funny internet story about Steve Lukather, right? Now, I've seen Steve play in the Baked Potato, that's a little tiny club in the Valley. And it's literally like the place seats maybe 30 or 50 people. And he would say the most irreverent things on the mic, on stage, introducing his band members. I'm not even going to repeat the kind of stuff that he would say on the mic, but he would say the most offensive things. And it was hilarious. He is a super nice guy, but he's got that crazy LA, sense of humor. You got to learn from the bad gigs, Bradley says. That's absolute right. Well, now that we're in overtime, I don't know, should I got this giant Red Bull, but I don't know if I need all that. That's a little bit much. If I had another one of these small ones, but I've still got maybe a quarter left of this. It's like the beer at the end of the can. You start bending the can and it's crumpled. Our bass players in the minority in this channel. Man, we got a lot of bass players. Us guitar players and bass players, man, we're related, right? Save it for later. Yeah, I'll save the other. Baked Potato is legendary venue despite the occupancy. Dude, it is incredible. And I heard stories about one night Landau and Lukather were playing at the Baked Potato, and Eddie Van Halen showed up on his motorcycle, 3 sheets to the wind, and got up on stage and sat in with those guys and just played stuff from another planet. Was just out there in the ether. You imagine Lukather, Van Halen, and Michael Landau all on the same stage. Even Mozart had to come in through the kitchen, someone is saying in the thing. Yeah, man, musicians, guitar players are bass players' teachers, or bass players teach us, right? Because I've had some bass players that have said, hey, man, why don't we'll go to the tritone sub on this part. Play a half step up from the one. Check it out, So I've had some bass players show me a few things. One of my favorite guitar players alive today, Alan Hines. Dude, I was this close to Alan Hines many times. Took some lesson, not less direct one-on-one lessons, but he was a teacher in my class. Might have been ear training or something like that at GIT. So, Yeah, I knew about Alan Hines 30 some years ago. You know, he is incredible, and he's got that, you know, he's got that Holdsworth flavor to his playing, but he does his own thing. Howdy, mad musician, magician. Glad to have you here. Oh, I've got to refuel. So after this is done, I've got the very boring task of probably going to the Publix and getting a few things for the family. So this has been the highlight of the day, getting to spend my time with you guys here. If we have any more questions, if we have any more topics, I'll keep it popping. Hi, Brad. CC, how you doing? The rest of the badness group. Yes, everybody say hello to CC. What's up, musician? What's up? Major Upgrade is in the house. We are glad to have you here. Thanks, everybody. That's a great hang, Brad. Yeah, this is always a good hang in here, man, and we keep it flowing. How was GIT? Guessing you were there in the 1990s. I got there. It was probably 87, 88, and don't skip on the pub sub, they call them the deli sandwich from Publix. It's a pub sub. You got to get that sub, right? GIT, when I went there, it was in the transition of going from its location directly on Hollywood Boulevard to its new building that's kind of behind Hollywood Boulevard. And man, the talent of the instructors there. Hi, John, how you doing? The talent of the instructors at GIT when I went there was just off the charts, dude. I mean, I would have those days where, what do you call it? When something just, you learn something and it just opens up, like, I would have these moments where it would just like, I get it. Like I'm figuring this out. And like there was a lesson on targeting. There was a teacher back then called Les Wise, and I was trying to kind of figure out how to, jazz up my playing and how to, how do you navigate that, right? Being a rock player, we don't sound natural playing jazz, but like I was trying to add some of that flavor to your good times. Thank you. I was trying to add some of that flavor. So I'll show you guys a little something, right? Let me get a pick here. And so this one lesson, and this might be stuff that you guys already know, but there was a lesson on targeting, right? A target of notes. So let's say we're in A minor, right? So just for ease of explanation, here's an A, right? So targeting means targeting to the note you want to land on. So, right? So that'd be or all the different ways that you can get to that note, right? So so that gives you kind of the right? It's just little things like that would just expand my mind and go, dude, yeah, these notes, they don't have anything to do with A minor, but, and then there would be different combinations. I forget some of this stuff. There was different ones like stuff like, that's the root, but targeting it. And it'd be the same thing for the third. Right? And that would just give you like, ideas. So then if I'm, right? Just different things that you could do to expand what you were playing, and then the one that I used a lot and I got a lot from was if you're playing over the If you're playing over the 5, an altered 5 chord, playing the melodic minor up a half step. So, and resolve. So, those were some of the things that I was working on back then. And of course, sweep picking and all that stuff was real big then, and and all that. But yeah. So somebody asked if I ever saw Danny Gatton live. I did not. I really didn't. I really didn't know too much about him. He was a DC guy, and I didn't really go to DC for the to hear music when I was in Virginia. I mean, that was like a 2.5, 3 hour drive from where I was at. But you know who I did see up close and personal and hang out with, and who jammed at my house, was Victor Wooten, the incredible, incredible bass player, one of the greatest bass players of all time. The Wooten brothers were good friends of mine, and wasn't he a guy from Nashville? Who, Victor Wooten? Yeah, he lives in Nashville now, or outside of Nashville, but back then we were all guys from Virginia. And I met the Wooten brothers playing at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. They lived in Newport News, which is about 30 miles, in one direction. And he is a super nice guy, an incredible musician. I mean, I met those guys when we were all in our formative years. And he's one of the best musicians of all time, period. He absolutely is. And yeah, Michael, those are kind of bebop ideas, definitely. But, I remember I would talk to the Wooten brothers. They were in one country show and I was in another country show. So we would always see each other in passing. When our show was done, they'd be coming in, or, vice versa. And, I started hearing from the brothers because I hung out with Reggie the most because he was the guitar player. So me and Reggie Wooten would go see Yngwie. We saw Yngwie when he first came out. We went and saw Van Halen on the 5150 tour. Me and Reggie went to see Pat Travers one time. And we hung out a lot. We hung out, talked guitar and hung out. And I would, he'd show me stuff back in the day, and there's still stuff that he showed me that I still use today. Virginia brothers, yes. So the Wooten brothers, Victor Wooten, I would hear his brothers say, "Oh, well, Victor can dunk a basketball." Victor is not like a super tall guy, but he's super, super athletic. And so, you would hear, "Oh yeah, Victor can dunk a basketball. Victor can run up a wall and do the flip. He can do a standing backflip." And so I would say the natural thing to say, "Well, Victor, you should put your bass on and do a back and play a lick and do a backflip and finish the lick." Because man, it was the 80s, right? So everybody was into tricks, and it was real big at the time, the Cinderella thing of throwing the guitar around the neck. So those guys all figured out how to do that, and they were doing that on stage. But I said, man, it'd be even better if you could do a backflip. And sure enough, when he first came out with Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, and I saw before he joined that band, I saw Victor Wooten at a bass competition, at a big bass competition in Virginia. And there were two monster players at the time. There was a guy named Keith Horn, who was an amazing slap bass player. And then there was Victor Wooten. And Victor Wooten, he played his bass solo, and then he did the backflip. It was all over at that point. I mean, it's showmanship and raw talent. And those getting to hang out with those guys, and those guys would come over to my house, and we would jam till all hours of the night and talk about music. And James Genus from the Saturday Night Live band and Chick Corea and all that, those guys were all hanging at my house. So I mean, I had the greatest friends, greatest musicians in the world hanging out, just hanging out at the house. jamming tunes, playing old Rick James tunes and stuff like that. We'd be playing do 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 do. Give it to me, baby. We'd be playing all that kind of stuff, just jamming and having a good time till all hours of the night. And people would solo, and it was just such a great time, man. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We got 59 people. I almost can't leave. You got to get some guys like that. Let's see. Thank you, guys. People need to jam more. You got to get some guys like that to come on and just shoot the shiz with you for a vid. I'm going to try to do that. Eddie screwed eyelets into his guitar. Yes, he did. Yeah, I'm going to try to get together with some of those guys. Now that I'm down here, it might have to be a Zoom. Maybe I can get Reggie Wooten to do one of these. And I've got some friends down here, and I'm going to try to hook up with them. But I'm having so much fun just hanging out as it is. And, I kind of take great pride in the fact that I'm building this channel organically, and I'm not relying on my famous friends, to make it take off. I'm just kind of doing it on my own and keeping things popping right now. But thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to go hit Publix. I'm not going to hit the pool today, Nick. But I'm going to go hit Publix and get some stuff. Yeah, full beer for a slide. Danny Gatton, thank you, everybody. Yes, Rick James and Neil Young, we're in a band together. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's Bad Brad. We've been going for 76 minutes straight. So I'm going to head on out of here. But thank you so much. Got to grab that. Hey, Harry, how you doing, brother? And thanks again, Harry, for yesterday. Thank you. Joe Wentz. Thanks, everybody, for chipping in. I salute you. For those about to rock. Take care, Quincy. Everybody, have a good day. And I'll see you on the next one. Yes, indeed. Bye, Pedro. Bye, Fred. Best chats I've seen. Thank you, Fred. Publix, then guitar licks. Yes, indeed. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye, CC. Thank you. We're going to have a good time. Later, dudes. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks a lot.